6:35, the Fairfield Bike and Pedestrian Committee meeting on August 21st at, I already said 6:30. So everybody is here except for Anya, and I don't see Francisco on yet either. But we have a quorum so we can get started. No members of the public. Approval of minutes from July 17th, 2025. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. Any?
I'll second that once we get the link. Sarah, I never got the link.
Oh, okay. Did you check if it's up on the YouTube yet?
No, I did not, but I will do that. And if we don't have the link, I'll follow up with you.
Okay. Because I can follow up with Fair TV if it's not posted. Okay, so do you want to wait to vote on those until we get that link, or?
No, I think it's fine to approve them pending addition of the correct link.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments on the minutes? Okay. All in favor of approving?
Aye.
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 Okay. No town departments present at this time. Okay, moving on to the chair's report. I don't have too much tonight. There were two bike and moped incidents that I wanted to raise. One, actually, I should have talked about last meeting, which was the moped crash that occurred right on the post road. And that young man who was in his 20s died, which is really sad.
The guy from the Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Sonia's, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, the whole story is really unfortunate. And then there was also another bike crash that closed, I think, Old Park, was it? That closed, ruined, like the Old Field, whatever that park is. That cool?
Oh, is that why it was closed? We got
Yeah.
the notice, it's like, this is closed.
That was a
We
really
don't tell you why.
serious
was
injury there. What's the Old Field and I'm
Oh,
not
Ruane intersects with
Ruane
Run and Oldfield, yeah.
Oldfield,
Oh,
somewhere right
yeah,
around there.
okay. Yep.
Maybe where, is that where like that walk along the dump is? Is that where it, like
It's
the
back
senior
further.
center?
Yeah, it's on the other side of that, but Ruane goes north of Oldfield.
I'm not sure exactly where it was. It wasn't
Like
really
kitty corner.
publicized. It was just kind of through word of mouth that I heard about that one. So, very like serious injuries
To
for
whom?
a man. I don't know. He was a triathlete. I guess he was.
Jesus.
Yeah, like a very experienced cyclist who got hit.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. So again, the reason why we talk about those is just that like the work we're doing has meaning. So anything that we can do to make improvements to infrastructure for cyclists and pedestrians is, however we can move the needle forward.
Just before we get off that, it would be useful, I mean, for this committee to know some of the details or something like that.
Yeah, I can follow up with the police.
I'm naturally nosy, but also for the sake of what we do here.
Yeah, I can follow up with the police on that one. I was kind of surprised it didn't get picked up. Usually they kind of do, but I can follow up.
State of
I do.
local journalism is helping us.
I do know it was. I think it was an older driver. Anyway, two other brief updates. One is the Fairfield Traffic Authority met just before this, and they had two items on their agenda. One is the automated speed camera application. That is moving forward to the OSHTA, the Traffic Safety Authority or whatever at the state. Once they have that, I was just told it's at least a 60-day process for them to kind of look at it. They're looking at the earliest time for the speed cameras to go live would be around March, but so not quite aligned with school starting, which would have been nice, but still getting forward progress on that. That application, in case anybody's interested, is posted on the FTA backup, so you can kind of see all that went into it. It's very lengthy. I think it's like 100 pages on the website. There's a lot of information in there.
What is the FTA backup?
On their website where their agendas are posted, there's
Okay.
just I think it says packet, and you can click on
Okay,
that and you
okay.
can see the whole application's posted.
That's good to know. Thank you.
And then the second item that was on their agenda was the road safety audit for Post Road. And it sounds like they were just talking about that, and that's also gonna move forward. So I would hope and expect that when that does move forward, members of the committee can attend that as well.
There was another road safety audit on, like, in the Black Rock area.
Yes.
So this is a second.
This is separate, yeah. Okay. I'll talk briefly on the Safe Streets Alliance. There's still content being released over the summer, so if anybody has some extra time, or is interested in helping to create some of the content that's going out through the newsletter and social media, you can let me know and I can connect you with Lisa Claire, who's the communications director. You don't have to be an expert in like making it look pretty for social media, but there's a few weeks left where they have kind of outlined what is going to be the theme of the week. And if you have any interest in any of those things and just kind of creating bullet points or something that the first selectman's intern can turn into content, that would be helpful. And other than that, we are getting some Safe Streets emails, things people are writing in specific to where they think improvements could be made. So if those, for example, somebody wrote in about sidewalks on Old Field and South Pine where they're missing. It was really good feedback, I thought, that I had been sending to Mega as the Complete Streets coordinator to capture, but just as an FYI.
How many, do you have any sense of how many of those are coming in? And has that changed with this campaign?
The Safe Streets emails.
Yeah, are we getting,
I don't really have a sense of
okay,
what was before
Yeah.
too much, but Lisa in the newsletter specifically calling out for people to write in for it. So there have been, like after the newsletter goes out, a handful that are
Okay.
coming back. At some point, I'll probably do some sort of synthesis of it,
Mhm.
but just not there yet.
yeah.
So one quick thing, you mentioned
Yeah.
sidewalks on South Pine Creek there. They've pretty much filled in, there were just a very few, couple spots that don't have sidewalks.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what section he was referring to, so I did kind of say, send your specific areas, but he could have meant a different street too, I don't. But feedback like that is good as we kind of move forward on, some of these infrastructure projects. The more feedback we have from the community to kind of support them, the better.
Pardon me if I've missed it, but I don't recall any specific solicitation, like send us your street or location, intersection or whatever, corridor.
It is in the newsletter, like in the Safe Streets section.
But not in the social media posts.
It might not be, but
But maybe
Yeah.
that's something that could specific, with an email address.
It's kind of like a newspaper. If you're not turning to page 6, you might not be connecting with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just,
I don't know how long I can keep using that analogy.
yeah, that's a good point. So I can bring that up at our next meeting. Okay.
And I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead, Amy.
No, now I kind of just, what was Adrienne commenting on?
Adrienne was saying via social media, she hadn't seen any kind of solicitation for the community to send issues or problems they're seeing on our streets to any sort of email or.
Okay, that spurred another question for me, and then thank you, because my brain is mush. Hopefully, I'm so glad there's no members of the public here when I say that. So when we
You're just recording to be live on
Forever.
the website forever. But that's
great,
okay.
so it's documented in perpetuity here. So at the Vision Zero presentation that Adrienne coordinated, I did, there weren't a ton, but there were a few Post-its I noticed on that map in the back of areas of concern. What
Yes.
happened with that?
That's still sitting on my desk. So, but
So
we should
add those
definitely,
to what you
yeah.
have received through other channels.
Yes, yeah. So we should definitely add those to the collective. Now I'll write it down, Amy, and now I'll do it. So.
Right. If you ink it, you think. If you think it, ink it, or ink it, you think it. One of those.
I like that.
Okay. Excellent. Next up, we have the complete streets policy. Sandy, do you want to give a brief overview of where we are, and then we can talk collectively about next steps? Does that?
We had talked last time about trying to get it to a point where we could distribute it to the committee for review. And I know that you were hoping to make it more narrative and less bullet points, but I wasn't very successful in doing that. I've taken it about as far as I think I can. I mean, I've added some things and edited some things, but there's a lot of comments that are kind of suggestions, and I don't know, it should, I guess I wasn't sure how much I should try to address all of those, or is everyone going to look at those, or?
Okay, I think at this point, everybody can look at it
Yeah.
and just kind of see like where we're at, and because I think at this point, like it's still a draft.
Yeah.
We're still very much open to feedback from all the committee members. We still have to, I think there's still like a chicken egg issue because there's a lot of stuff that's in there that we have to get buy-in and support from town government on. So there's still a lot kind of collaboration, I think, left to go on it. But I think we can probably at this point, even with the comments, so everybody can kind of see where everybody's head's at on certain things, review the policy.
Yeah. Sarah, because I actually read this in its totality today, and I had a lot of comments.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if it would be, and I don't know what the process is if we had, like, can we have a special meeting of the bike ped? I mean, because some of them are, very high level. Like, I think we should have a page of defined terms because there's a ton of defined terms in here that, the average person reading would be like, oh, well, what the heck is this? An acronym, like, because I didn't know what they were either, right? So some are that way, like that level, or on page 1, it says safety and accessibility, design and operate streets to ensure safe access for all. Well, like, what does operate mean? Does that mean maintenance? Does that mean street signs? Like, well, right. So there are questions like that. But then I also have a lot of questions like, does this department even exist? Or how are
my
how are we
comments
gonna
still in there
monitor-
about those departments? Because I had very similar ones as well. So, but yeah, so I think, I don't want to cut you off, Amy. We can, if you want to have more specifics you want to bring up, that we can go through them. But quickly, what I would say is, I think we can have a special meeting to discuss it. If we're going to have a quorum, we have to notice the meeting. So I guess we can kind of decide if everybody wants to do that, that's fine. Or if we're going to have a smaller group, I think either way we can notice it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine because, like, it's obvious that a lot of work went into this, and there's a lot of really great information in here. And as you said, we need buy-in from different town bodies, but like, there's certain things, it doesn't actually say, there's nothing in here which I would consider part of a policy or plan, like how you actually do it, right? Like, it says that there's got to be, now I can't remember where it is. I don't know, garden something or other. Like, well, what does that mean? How do you go about it? who's responsible for it? You know, like what are,
Well, I
it
think you
says
bring,
there's certain social metrics that are used to define certain areas. Like what are the, because I happen to be in one of those underserved areas that were defined. Like, well, what were the social metrics that were used?
so I think you bring up a good point. And like, I have one, let me start with this. This is supposed to be like the town's overarching complete street policy. It's not supposed to be procedures that departments are supposed to do
Okay.
to figure out, you know, so, because if it was gonna be, this is one of the things I struggled with originally when we first started working on it, is, you can have like a procedure document that's going to be hundreds of pages and nobody is going to read it. So we have to be able to have something that's digestible for people to read too. So I think that answers part of your question. What you're asking specifically about, we'd have to look at that specifically because I'm not exactly sure. Maybe in an instance like that, it is kind of appropriate to say how we got those communities decided that way. Maybe it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 'cause like I'm just looking at page 8 and it says My Community Explorer 4.3. And then it says percentage of residents is 3+ components of social vulnerability. Like what does that mean? And, you know, maybe I'm putting too much into this, and you know, maybe it's really just something I need to figure out for my own edification. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying now. Like we need an overarching policy, and then there will be a procedures manual.
Yeah, and I think like that section, for example, has kind of been like, I don't know, with all the stuff that's happening at the federal level, like, does that section even stay in? You know?
Very good point.
I mean, that's a question that I had when I was looking at this recently. So,
Well, then
so-
maybe that's what we do. We just see if we can, you know, notice it and get a special meeting where we can really kind of just go through page by page and say, like, does this make sense? You know, what's the follow up from this, et cetera.
Okay, why don't,
Not that I want to have another meeting on the calendar because I know we're all really busy, but I think we all really believe in the importance of this as well.
On that particular front, I just want to note that I read a lot of RFPs, mostly for the state of New York, not as much for Connecticut. They still refer to environmental justice communities and disadvantaged communities, et cetera. So I think it might be a state-based thing and what they're prioritizing. And New York has, it almost appears that they've doubled down. You know, like there's
it's interesting because we had to take it out of the federal, like the
probably out of the
federal
grant,
grant, yeah,
but
but not necessarily out of your policies.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point.
yeah, all I'm saying is just check because it may depend on what the nature of
Well,
the,
and we're using the Smart Growth America
That's what I was just about to
benchmark.
say, and that's what really drives their framework for complete streets. It's a huge part of it. So,
Yeah,
and,
that was just
and
kind of
almost
like
every other complete streets policy that I've looked at, and I've looked at a whole bunch of them. It's kind of there in all of
still
them.
there, yeah. Okay. Okay, so Amy is definitely interested. Sandy, Adrian.
I can,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't want to put anybody on the spot, so you can let me know later if you'd want to be included in a meeting like that, and then we can figure out schedules and the notice requirements from there. Does that all sound good?
Sure. We got some good brains to work.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I think that's it for all the agenda items. Under old business, we have the Greenway Partnership, but it sounds like there's not an update.
There's yeah, I don't have an update. I'm hoping that with back to school, like, I'll be able to get back into this too. And Mike,
Yeah, I
hold me.
also haven't seen, yeah, sorry, Alex. Yeah, I also haven't seen a new grant round either come out. There was supposed to come out something during the summer, but I haven't seen it released, so.
Have you guys connected with Andrea yet, who's
The grant
the
writer?
town grant, well, she's a grants manager.
Okay. No.
Just because somebody, and I can't remember who it was, mentioned that there might not, if the town, there's rules around like if the town has certain grants open and projects haven't started, then you're not always eligible for the next round of grants. So it would just be good to connect with Andrea to make sure that any work that we're gonna start to do, we're eligible to apply for, you know?
Just because of like
Yeah, I think that was Alex that was talking about that.
me? This guy?
Yeah, it had something to do with the Greenway project. I remember there was
Yeah,
one grant you
there
weren't
are-
sure if you
I
could
think
get
it's-
another grant because.
Specifically.
I think I brought it up, Amy, but I don't remember, we have to check with town employees on that. They should know, like,
Yeah,
Um,
I can speak with Andrea to find out. I think this all related to the deep grant specifically because the town already has applied for that.
right.
So I can connect with Andrea so that, we can get ideally some more clarity there. I can also connect with, I think it was Bruce Donald, am I getting that name right? Who is affiliated with the Greenway and also affiliated with Deep to find out if there's any, issues around, having the town apply for multiple things for the same grant. And then if that does become an issue for that particular grant, there are other ways we don't need to do it through the town as well. If that, if we want to consider that as an option, like an individual can apply for the grant as well.
I know that gets very messy. The town
Okay.
doesn't like when individuals apply for grants independently.
Okay.
What about a nonprofit, like just a nonprofit entity, like, I'm just, like, if Aspetuck Land Trust were to.
Yeah,
or
I
something
think
like that.
that's different.
But
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe
but
we
that's
can-
that. I mean,
but
the
maybe
point
we
was
can
to
approach
spur an
But
idea,
I
and I
guess
like that.
that's a good point if there are sections of the trail, because I think that was part of it too. It's like some of this stuff you could just like slap a trail sign on
Mhm.
and kind of get it moving. So I think maybe that's an interesting point. If there are sections like that, that another entity could kind of spearhead and then it makes it better to connect at some point.
I like that idea though, like as a fallback, if it's even possible, but, so I guess the next step will be to coordinate with Andrea just to see what's in the works and.
Just to make sure we're not going to put a lot of work into something that we can't actually
Mhm.
forward on.
And did you have more to add, Francisco?
No, I think as Sarah's saying, it makes sense to send it, like it's the town sending it, because we will request some sort of match, like we'll need a match as well. So unless you're gonna put something up, Alex, for the trail.
20 grand.
There you go.
No, but I like the nonprofit idea is interesting as well.
Yeah, we do need letters of support as part of the grant. And so we have from the town, this is later during the process, but we'll need letters of support and ideally from the Board of Selectmen. And then if it's along the route, that'd be great. So we'll need that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like an updated work plan, Alex. I'll send it to you. We should get
All right.
together,
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I just had a sick kid and couldn't make it.
Hey, look, there he
Yeah.
is.
But I am back. I am.
Okay.
Welcome
How
back.
about that?
Welcome back.
All right, yeah, so as I was saying to Mike, and now that you're here too, like, let's try to plan to like get a meeting scheduled for either next week or, once school is underway so that we can get back in the habit of like regularly pushing this forward.
Not to dwell, but Audubon also might be interested.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And Aspatuck.
Awesome. Any other new business we need to discuss?
I have one question. There was a Safe Streets for All grant.
Yes.
What happened with that?
We're still waiting on approval from the federal government to.
And that was the thing that had to get resubmitted because of
Correct.
reference to EJ.
Correct. Yeah. So as far as we know, it's going to move forward, like the dollars have been allocated, but the grant agreement is not signed yet. And so until the agreement's signed, we can't choose the consultant to do the planning grant. But once the agreement's signed, we can pick the consultant. I think there were 2 or 3 people that came in. There was a favorite that's not been disclosed because the grant agreement's not signed.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what, I don't,
I'm compromised.
they haven't told me, so.
I think
They
I
can
know
award
something
that
like-
once the grant agreement's signed, and then we can start getting to work on stuff. But other than that, I don't have an update.
Yeah, I wasn't asking on any of those consultants' behalf, and I actually.
No, I didn't think
or
you
anything
were.
like that. I was just wondering about the project. But I should not know.
Yeah, I don't know, so I can't even tell you if I wanted to.
Two
So,
unrelated things.
I mean, I don't know if it's new business, but it just relates to the website. So I've started going through our version of the town site, the bicycle and pedestrian section, and I'm putting together just kind of like a Google Doc on suggested changes as well as things that I've gone through and found are broken and need to get fixed. I'll also have a section on, kind of like suggestions for things that we might want to add. What would be then, so then, like I can distribute that to the committee, or what would you say the next step for that would be?
yeah, I think that's fine. And then we can, I mean, if anybody has any change, I don't think that we have to do any sort of formal approval process for what's on the website. Mike, do you
Not
have
aware
any,
of any,
like,
no.
back history on that?
No, I don't. No, okay, no.
Yeah. I mean, anything like that's gonna change our charge or anything like that, we would have to vote on.
Right.
But I don't think we have to vote on anything that's just like content on the website.
It's all useful. Pulling in the right direction seems rather controversial.
Okay.
Could I ask a question that's kind of relates to one of the part from your chairman's report and had to do with talking about post-road audit? I'm curious, Bill's not here, but do we have any update on the post-road diet installation?
I think he spoke about that at our last meeting.
He did.
And it's still happening and it's on the state. And I thought it was supposed to happen right around now.
Soon, yeah.
Um,
I'm pretty sure
I
that's
thought
what
he said July. That's why, and I live 2 blocks from it, so that's why I was like,
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything.
no. I just got whacked by
Well,
something.
it's funny you say that, Mike, because I was driving through there today, and there are roadwork signs up, and maybe the beginnings of pavement milling. I can't really be sure, but
I'll hold my tongue.
there were definitely like roadwork signs up by the old. Oh, now this is how old I am. I can't remember. I don't know what's there now. Maybe Dunkin' Donuts, but it's where the old Arthur Treacher's was.
Oh, my. Yeah.
I know you're laughing at me now, right?
No, I remember, I moved here 30 years ago, so I know what you're talking about. That's right there at exit
Yeah.
19. and
I took
didn't
Hull's
think
Highway
about
home
that.
today from Westport, so I didn't
I went
drive
right through
it.
there too, so I didn't really recognize that as, okay, well, that might be the start of it then.
Yeah, it might be.
They've been
That
working on
might,
the
that's,
bridge there.
yes, yeah, it should be posted on the state website. But I don't know. Sorry. All right, anybody else have anything?
I have one question, and we don't have to discuss it, I just want to bring it up now, and we can come back to it when it makes sense. I think maybe it's just you and I
Oh,
who
yeah,
talked
let's
about
talk about it.
well,
If we're talking about the same thing, let's definitely talk about
well,
it.
there were a couple of ideas that we had talked about.
Yeah.
One was to do a walking tour of some of the kind of relevant areas for the bike ped committee, so we could all be kind of on the same page. And, so rather than having the meeting here, or maybe on an alternate date, we go out and kind of
A little
look.
field trip.
A little field trip, yeah, well, the weather is good ideally. That was one thing. The other thing, also outdoors, was doing some sort, you know how on, not the Merritt, Bronx River Parkway on Sundays in warm weather, they close it to bicyclists? I was thinking that if we could do something like that in Fairfield, it could bring attention, we've talked about this, to the benefits of biking, just kind of recreational biking, walking, running, et cetera.
Just so, I'm here for history, if nothing else. There was a movement, this is 7 or 8 years ago, where they talked about, oh, Hurley.
Hello.
Where they were
Worked late and I
talking
figured
about
I'd join in.
closing off certain sections of road around town, where we could do something like that. And it would be, families out, let's walk, let's ride our bike, let's, and whatever. Remember, the downside of this, we're trying to figure out where that was going to be. And it was like quickly eliminating, state roads and anything that's part of the main road. Root Branch Road Parkway would be great. I'd love to do that anywhere in town, but it was like quickly running up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a
blockades of, reasons why it couldn't happen. But I would push,
But that could just draw attention to the benefits of a lot of the stuff that we are trying to do, which isn't just for recreational purposes, for sure, it's for safety for everyone and so on. But it's a nice way to kind of get the conversation going.
Another idea.
well. Do you think from a planning perspective, because it obviously takes a while to try to, get a road closed down. Like maybe it's something we could try to incorporate with Earth Day, right? Like, 'cause didn't they have like a bike
I think that.
I
thing
think
with
so.
Earth
We
Day and
talked
Safe
about it
Kids
before.
this year and the shuttle? Like maybe we could try to do it in conjunction with that and have a certain area blocked off to only pedestrians and bicyclists.
That was one idea I had also, Amy. I think that's probably like a good, and that's far enough away that we can probably get. And even if it's just we close a section of Old Post Road or something, or do I think maybe Alex and I had talked about doing a little bike route from the Y to the beach or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe we could figure something small like that out. The second thing that it
Yeah, we
reminded
can always grow it.
Right. The second thing it reminded me of is the concept of play streets, which we talked about as a committee a little while ago. And one of the things that I had, which in play streets, just so we're all on the same page, is a similar concept where you can close a stretch of neighborhood so kids can just be out in the street with their bikes and their chalk or whatever, their ball games, and kind of like a block party. It's very similar. It would just be a short, like 2 hours on a Saturday or Sunday or something. Maybe in conjunction with that idea, we could maybe pursue the play streets again, because one of the original things I had thought of as we could do as a next step would be to pick a couple different neighborhoods where they each could host a play, like find, somebody in the neighborhood who wants to host a play street, and you could do it like somewhere in Southport, somewhere in the beach area, somewhere like Stratfield, so then you kind of get a sense across town what it would be like. So maybe that's something else we could pursue also,
That's a good
probably
idea.
for the spring, to have like some sort of implementation.
I'm wondering if weekends are preferable or weekdays, like after school, for kids to have a place.
Yeah.
I mean, so,
We would still, because you still need like adults to be in charge of the
Yeah.
barriers and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But we
that's
can, I can circulate, Sarah Roy had put together a PowerPoint presentation on place streets before, so maybe we can just recirculate that and try and get the ball rolling. We do need to figure out some sort of buy-in with the police and,
It's not that much different than getting a block party,
I don't,
right?
I think it's pretty much the same thing. We had a
I'm
little
doing
bit
it
of,
right now.
had a little bit of we had a little bit of resistance previously. I don't know if we'll still have the
It's possible
same.
that things have changed.
Yeah.
a little in recent
Yeah,
years.
exactly, yeah.
I
So,
love this idea though, like both the play streets and also just like closing the streets. You know, I think it would be good to have like attractors, right? And by that I mean maybe a food truck, ice cream truck, whatever. And like
Yeah.
the more we can make something like that engaging both for the parents and the kids, that would be
And it
awesome.
doesn't have to be so earnest, like, it doesn't have to be about, like, be a good person. It can just be fun.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it can get people out and circulating and having a good time.
Make parking super inconvenient.
I might also bring this up at our next Safe Streets meeting too, because that could be for the campaign. Like so the campaign is gonna kind of die down after the summer, but the idea would be that the same sort of resources can be used on some sort of periodic basis. So maybe this could just be another event that we work in conjunction with the Alliance on to do, so. Cool, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. I've got to stop. Can I just re-ask my question of Bill?
Yeah, I was gonna turn it to Bill anyway, so.
Real quick, 'cause I'm gonna jump, but status on the road diet on the post road?
I have to find that out myself. Our understanding is they had sent out the plans. They were trying to get a contractor on board. I thought they were going to do it like this fall, but I haven't heard, because I haven't heard anything in
Okay.
2 months. And somebody else recently brought that to my attention. I will make sure, and I'll let Sarah know, and then she could distribute that.
Sandy was reminding us, there's work going on in the overpass of the post roads that goes around the exit 19 area there. We wondered if that was related to that, or if that's just some
No,
of
that's bridge work
Oh,
on
bridge
the
work.
highway
Bridge
bridge.
work.
Okay, then never mind.
The other area, a little bit to the west, that was our Southport connectivity project that you've
Right.
seen,
Okay.
some sidewalks and stuff going in there, and the bus shelter, and a couple of other items going in there. The teeing up of the intersection at Center and Kings.
That's great, by the way.
Thank you. So that's that. Just when you're talking about closing the streets, I know there was one gentleman who tried to get the Veterans Park, that road, Edward Street that goes through Veterans Park. And again, you wouldn't want to do it on a Saturday because of the transfer station or whatever. But on Sundays, as far as I know, the transfer station's closed. And so that might be an opportunity where it kind of expands the road and the play and the fact that people want to go to the field.
Do you know who
and-
that was, Bill?
I think his name was Bruce Capzula or something like that. But I'm sure I have it. I can forward that.
Was that recently?
Maybe 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
I saw him one day. He was running the chairlift at prom, ski resort. He knew who I was right off the bat, so it's pretty fun.
What was the issue with the transfer station? That it
What's
was on
that?
Saturday? What was the issue with the transfer station?
Yeah, that they're
Saturday?
open Saturday. That's their busiest day.
So you get a lot of traffic through Edward Street on that day because of that.
But on Sunday,
On Sunday, which shouldn't be a problem.
yeah, so if we wanted
But
to
also
consider
people
that.
could go around.
That's true.
Yes.
It's not that hard.
It's not like it's not like you're closing Reef Road.
At the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did they give you the paving list or any information to kind of
So,
glance at or anything like that?
so my
Not
understanding,
always-
I didn't bring that up tonight because I thought that the paving list was still
It's
preliminary.
not, yeah, that's,
So-
but if just to let everybody know what I'm thinking, it kind of at least gives me a little feedback here. For instance, one of the streets might be Black Rock Turnpike, below, like in the BJ's area, because that's the town, the other is the state. It's 40 feet, it's 29 feet, it's 36.5, so it's all over the place. And because there's a couple of ones left-hand turns, there really isn't too much room for a bike lane or whatever. So we kind of, all right, on that one, I don't know if we can do anything there. We'll keep the wheels going, but right now, that's one that we might not. I think Sturgis Highway might have been another one. That's only 22 feet wide. There's no way we could do that. Ash Creek Boulevard was kind of interesting in that, again, it varies. And this is where you go back and forth a little bit. With the FTA approving the 10-foot lanes, if they continue to do that, a lot of the roads in town are 30 feet wide. So if you have a 10-foot lane, now you get that 5-foot
Yeah.
by shoulder or
Is
potential
5
bike.
feet adequate?
Again, it depends. Ideally, 6 feet is better, especially if you have curb.
Yeah,
But then we would need to have streets 32 feet wide, and now all of a sudden you're down to less than 50 in town.
so I will just, I mean, this is anecdotal, but
Sure.
I'm working on a greenway
Yep.
in Rockland County.
Oh, okay.
That's the length of the, follows the Palisades.
Yep.
the entire route. And we had some walking tours trying to communicate to the public what is an appropriate length. And Sarah Roy at the Vision Zero, actually it was Bill Gerber,
Okay.
who reported that Sarah Roy often uses one of those pool noodles
Yep,
to kind of keep people at a certain distance.
the 3-foot
Because on the
separation.
rear
She's got it
bike,
tied to
yeah.
her head to the bike. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've seen her
right.
in action. Yeah.
And so we actually went and bought one of those to communicate to members of the public, like, this is how much space you need.
Yeah.
And it was actually
It's a good
quite effective.
safety / education or demonstration.
Yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, were these anyway, that's just anecdotal, but what I am wondering is, are you thinking about there being protected or just,
Well, again, the ones that are only 30 feet
there's no
wide,
room for
all you're doing is a
cars.
white line,
Yeah.
but at least
But
it's
if
kind
you-
of separating, it's giving it a little bit of a road
better than
diet
the-
situation.
Sometimes you can put a
narrowing the
different
road.
material down though.
That's something someday,
That gets
could
costly.
be looked at. The other would be, if the town, decided, or if it was a little bit more of a heavier bike use, maybe going with that 6-inch line rather than the 4-inch line. It just visually kind of gives it a little bit more separation. But I bring up the Ash Creek Boulevard because there's a couple of islands or medians, and then, right now they're 12-foot lanes. If you made them 10, then that gives you 2 on one side and 4 on the other. And the old adage of, well, if they're just shoulder lanes, that 4 is better than 2, if you know what I mean. But it still couldn't be a bike lane. So that was kind of
But
one of the
maybe-
questions I was.
But you do have to maintain a shoulder lane. Like you can't do away with the 2 feet and move it all.
Oh,
together.
no, because of the
Can't do
median
that.
there. You
Yeah,
gotta-
yeah. No, that's,
And the reason why I on another one that I bring up is High Street. And on that one, it's 28, 30, and then 32. So the 32 is fine, we know that. The 30, again, if we do 10 and 5, we're good. That 28, so if you don't mind, I'll just show you. And I'm just using this kind of as education, but also for a little bit of feedback, just on what you guys are thinking, just in case these decisions, I have less than 24 hours to make, or Mega does. For over here, this is like Lover's Lane and this is High Street. Holland Hill, Parkwood, the Army Reserve Center is there, and this is the Four Corners near towards the school there. This is Jennings, right?
Yeah.
So we could paint white lines there. This is part of the library to library. And I'm kind of looking to see. We should have had lines on there, but when I look on the aerial, I don't. But we'd have lines, and then where it stops at 30 here, we could either do one of two things. We could continue the lines, but now they'd only be 4 feet, the shoulder. Or we better off stopping it and then doing like a Sharo here and a Sharo there. So that's kind of, I just want to feel, and you don't have to make a decision today, but just the way of thinking, because there's no right or wrong answer, doing it consistent. I believe there are sidewalks on at least one side, but not both, not both.
Can I ask a question? I
Sure.
had thought that the Sharrows were kind of, in recent years, considered actually making things less safe. Sustainably.
I've heard different
So
ones.
I
It's
don't, I
more-
don't,
no,
you know.
I don't know if they have any studies for that. What I would say, it's really just an awareness. When you
Yeah.
see a Shara, oh, there might be bikes. But, you
I
know,
guess, like, that's what I struggle with a little bit is like, if we're dealing with certain road characteristics, like, we have to do the best that we can in the road
Sure.
characteristics. So if this is not a project that would have, for example, like, I guess, are there gonna be projects where we're gonna change the road?
well, that's the
Or-
thing. It's so hard. Because even right now, my understanding right now is that even the paving for the fall has been postponed.
Right.
For I don't know exactly what reasons or whatever,
Right,
to the
yeah.
spring. So just to kind of give you an idea, and that's just for paving. To reconstruct, there's very few roads. There is one I know, but it's a local, it's kind of like a dead end road that's going to be reconstructed because the pavement's so bad. And then that might be an opportunity. Matter of fact, we're either going to widen or narrow it down depending on
Yeah.
the situation. And then maybe, we're going to create a little extra fill of pavement or sub-base and then go down so that we can create high and low points because it's a very flat road with a lot of puddles. So now we kind of can create some drainage that way. But like an example here, for us to go and now take the curbs out, put the sub-base in,
Yeah.
and do that, it really, in my opinion, it's probably at least tripling or not, maybe even quadrupling the costs.
So for,
And maybe it's not appropriate on this road, but maybe it would be appropriate on other roads. I'm just.
Perhaps, especially if it was a small section, much like what you try to fill in the sidewalk gap. Well, if there's one bottleneck,
Right.
you could widen that out to make it something. Or conversely, we have a lot of intersections that are way too wide. And if we can, put in the curbing and narrow them down, there's obviously environmental benefits, it's cost savings eventually when you have to repave it. Now there's less pavement. And as we all know, narrowing the roads for speeds and any pedestrian crossing. So there's a lot
The
of,
reason why I bring it up
Sure.
on this particular
Yeah.
one is because it is, as you said, the library to library route, so it's something the town's already designated as a bike route. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that to me would be like well, maybe we should think about if it and I don't know what this stuff costs and I don't know.
Right,
But
yeah.
just like as a consideration when you are having these conversations, that's something I would be interested just to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe it means we don't do stuff somewhere else, but if it makes sense because we're advertising it as a bike route and over time we could put a.
right. Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay.
And again, those are decisions that are.
Yeah,
sure.
they're above my grade.
and then,
Yeah.
but
I
short
get it.
term, like looking at what we can do. So what I'm understanding is like, so this is it. It's like
So the
up
net-
here it's wide,
Yeah, it's wide enough, we would do the lanes just like you see
Yeah,
on the
okay.
diagram there.
and then down here it gets narrow.
Too
and then-
narrow, and
but
so
when
do
you
we
say
still
too
do the
narrow-
lot, well, it's 28 feet.
So we would have, so they're
Only
10,
4 feet.
4 feet on each side?
If you continued the lines, it'd
Yeah.
be 4 feet, or are we better off stopping the lines where the 30 ends and then just doing Sharrows? That was my question
And
to
so the Sharrows are just like bike,
Just the bike lane
Yeah,
emblems,
I
and the
don't
idea
like
is,
them.
I think the thing is if we put the shoulder lane markers on there, Bill, we have to have the bike lane markers would be in the travel lane, right? Is that the problem?
No, we would just leave it like this, but instead of 5 feet, it'd be 4 feet. And, usually you want to see 5 feet. But you ask me, the
Because you
difference
can't
between
ever-
Sharrow, then you're traveling in the travel lane as a
Can
cycle.
we ever call it a bike lane though?
Not at 4 feet, not that I'm aware of, no.
Maybe is there a different color paint that you can, is there
No, that,
something?
once you designate a paint,
Yeah.
then basically
Oh,
no
that's what I
parking,
figured,
and
okay.
and that's where.
Yeah,
So I think the original one had the Sharrows there, but part of me is, because we had 11-foot lanes then, but if we did the 10, basically is, would you, if you, as a cyclist, would you rather have the 4-foot shoulder or would you?
I would rather have the
Sharrows?
shoulder
Yeah.
personally.
That's kind of what I'm towards.
That's me too.
I don't know, like I've been with the new shoulders on Old Post Road.
Yeah.
And I actually took it with my kids, 6 and 8. And I tested it with them. I tested the shoulder and I just see more cars parked on the shoulder.
Unfortunately,
And-
that is it. Yep.
And I see more cars parked, and then it actually becomes more dangerous for them to go into the lane and overpass the parked cars. Because now it's like, you can't go in the lanes because that's 4 cars. Before it used to be shared. Now you can't access the car lane because it's for cars. So now, to me, it made it worse
That's
for my little one.
But this, yeah, I totally hear that.
Yeah.
And if parking is a thing, but on this street,
Yeah, I can't
is
see
there
I don't
street
think-
parking?
I don't-
I don't think I've ever.
And again, that is going back to what he was saying though before, where again, it's a catch-22. If we make it a bike lane, and there's no parking, and then residents get upset, what happens when the moving van, a delivery truck, or the landscaper comes, or somebody renovated
We
their house?
can't design roads for the one-offs, right?
But you hope for though, because in some of the cases where we've done the kind of, you still only get 1 or 2 cars to park there. But I do tend to agree where when we establish the shoulder, if it's wide enough, see, 5 feet, it's not really wide enough for a car, but.
4 feet certainly
when-
not.
yeah.
If you park, it's weird. to
Right,
be
you'd be like
half
half sticking
an-
out,
yeah.
exactly. But in the cases where we're wide enough, then it's almost, it's a catch-22 because now some people who, maybe they would have parked there, maybe not, but now they have the feeling of, oh, I can park here now. So I could see it both ways.
Yeah, this, in
But
this
for this
area,
one,
no one would park. in
I
the
don't think so.
4-foot.
I agree with you
Like-
on that.
Like, because I've found myself in certain areas where I'm like, can I park here? Because I'm half in the street,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an uncomfortable feeling as a driver.
So maybe 4 feet is actually the more ideal.
Yeah, exactly, because then like, no one parks.
It's legit, like.
And I'm also wondering, are there, I'm now replaying that walking tour many of us did in Stanford where, I love that guy, what's his name?
Luke, yeah.
God, I am such a crush on that guy. He's the best.
Man crush.
Total man crush on this guy. Thanks for the
Everybody has a
clarification. I mean, he's the best. But, he's like, oh, so we just stuck those,
Bollards, the thing reflectors. in
Yeah,
it.
like the reflector. We just we had an idea, we thought we'd do it, and we just did it. And I'm like, I'm not saying that this is a solution, but I throw it out there. If there's sections where this changes, and you sort of drew this line, and this line as being maybe we
That's kind of
stop-
where it's.
Yeah, maybe we stop the lines here and we do the sharrows, but is there some other thing that we could do to indicate that the lane, that the shoulder is narrowing, or does it even I don't know that it really matters, but I'm just throwing that out there.
It usually it's just a gradual
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the original question, I my vote in this case would be to go
4-foot
4.
shoulder and
Yeah.
keep the lines rather than the
lines
sharrow.
than the sharrow. But I don't know
Yeah.
and you were mentioning that you had some either anecdotal or research that would say that the sharrows.
I remember learning that. Maybe it was at that walking tour last September. I mean, I feel like I've heard it in other contexts, but that was where.
I've heard
yeah.
some success stories, but I've also heard some things where it's.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the
Too
day,
much,
it's
yeah.
not gonna stop
I
a
don't-
car
it was-
from
I think it was
hitting
in
a
New Britain.
cyclist, right?
I don't remember.
I just wanted to bring it up. I think you have time, if you want to consider for the next time or whatever. But I would just want to use some examples of, sometimes at 22 feet, or 20 feet, you
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Right.
There's others that, with the Old Post Road, that's one of the wider ones. If we ever paved Fairfield Woods Road, that's another 40-footer. We could certainly do certain things on that one.
So a bike route,
So,
so
yep.
not a lot of parking.
Yep, exactly, yep.
Is there a way of putting, where you're not digging up the street, but there's some sort of reflectors or something that just kind of communicates a separation that,
Even
this is.
like the arm-
you know?
The armadillos, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was,
Now I need to.
The armadillos I think Adrian's description of reflectors, but they're little.
Or they stick up
They
a
stick
little
up
bit.
a
They're almost like the
Yeah.
size of a turtle shell, if you can imagine,
Yeah.
and they have some sort of reflector on them.
Oh,
You
I
can
was.
kind of drive over them, but you wouldn't wanna,
Yeah,
per
like when we
se.
were in
Yeah.
Portugal, they had them like,
Oh, they did it?
yeah, and we did have to go around it at some point, around whatever, something. And you can go over it. It is uncomfortable, and then you don't really want to be there, and you kind
What
of
was
go.
the spacing of that? Because that's one of the things I don't know off the
Right.
top of my
I don't
head.
remember. I wonder. I don't think I think it was like really early. I don't think I took a picture.
So they're like little turtle shell lumps,
Yeah,
or
and
they're
they're
not just a
it's-
little
it's-
stand-up?
It's the
short
idea
reflector?
for protected bike lane without having to put bollards up. Like,
Yeah.
think about putting a bollard on a residential.
It would suck.
Right, yeah.
But I
it-
like that
it's
idea.
It's the idea so you still get some protection.
it definitely communicates something different from just paint.
Yeah.
And kind of gives you
And
the idea,
I
like,
think they're easier to maintain. What I'm afraid of with the bollards.
believe me, that was
Two or
not,
three of them, they look like.
it was not the solution, but it was just
Oh,
to
yeah.
get the thinking, I like what you're proposing. And, and maybe that, that's something we can look into as.
Or even, like, if those aren't an option, like the rumble strip technology has improved a lot, and
Oh, I
having.
feel like it's embedded in some of the paint now.
Well, so-
Yeah, that's
and-
some of the things too, yeah.
Right, yes, and then, but also I think there's the rumble strips, the other, thank you.
Thank you.
The rumble.
What is this? Was
Those
this?
are the
Oh, those are the,
armadillos.
yeah.
But the rumble strips also are supposed to be less noisy outside the car, but
Oh, yeah,
still
that is-
annoying inside the car, and
Oh, that's
so
perfect.
You
something
feel the
like-
vibration rather than
something like
sound.
that, as a delineator would be good too. I like the way you're thinking, Bill.
Trying to,
Serving this
trying
up.
to help.
Francisco.
Can I just ask a question? Those medians on Ash Creek that you were mentioning
Yep,
before, are those,
just grass
what are
right
the
now.
purpose of those?
I have to admit, I don't know for sure. Those were when the consultants, when they did the roadway, they were put in for separation. I have to admit, I don't know the exact purpose. I know there's a break where you can get in,
But it doesn't connect to anything? Like, is there like
No, they're
pedestrian
just-
opportunities along that? I don't,
I think there's a sidewalk that goes all the way around. I have to-
There isn't down here.
No, it's on this side, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
on this side, it's on the south side.
The illicit has signs saying, oh, if our lot's full, you can park over at the train station.
And then there's a little pathway in the back, but it's.
And people who've had a bunch of beers, they're like,
I
walking
know.
in the streets to get to their cars.
mm.
It's not ideal.
only
Is
thing,
that lot being developed?
I think there is a proposal, there is
So
a
maybe they'll put a
81
sidewalk in
proposal.
there.
Yeah, they're looking at that. And then just to let you know, a lot of times, the right-of-way is an issue. And on this one, because it was a property taking, literally, I'm gonna say, probably no more than a couple inches off that curb is the end of the line. And it's the same thing with Commerce Drive. In anticipation of the train metro station, and at one point, 8 office buildings, they made it into a road diet, or possibly even for 4 lanes of traffic. And the right of way goes right to the edge of the curb. So, because a lot of times we're like, well, we could put a sign, oh, well, that's private property, you can't. So sometimes the right of way is limited. But I do appreciate, at least some initial feedback here. I think we have time, especially being that, unless that road's been recently paved and But if it's on the list, then we may have until spring to figure that out. But I just wanted to let you know some thinking on that. And on our other projects, Mega has the traffic calming type projects on the engineering website that you could look for updates on that. And some of the demonstration projects got approved by the FTA. So in typical town fashion, though, rather than go running, we have to buy the thing, then we have to have a contract with the buyer, and then it has to go to the Board of Selectmen.
I was gonna ask, is that the holdup for the mill plane demonstration?
That was some of it, and then some of it was just town approval, and you have to have like 5 or 6 town people approve. If 1 or 2 are on vacation, sometimes they designate somebody, sometimes they don't. And so
So are those demonstration projects moving forward still? Like,
yeah, they're moving forward. I
You
think
guys
they
know,
just
like-
got the approval last week for the bollards, which was kind of disappointing. We were hoping to get them in a lot earlier, but I'll check with Mega on that, and they'll have to have like a pre-construction meeting or installation meeting, and then go over where we want those bollards.
do we know when that installation might be?
Not
targeted?
yet, I don't know. As I said, we just got the approval, I'm gonna say, it was today. I think it was it was Friday, I think, last week, so. All right, I just wanted to say, any questions for me, or I just wanted to pop in? I hadn't talked, I've tried a couple of times to just come into the office, and but I was on vacation last week, so. that's fine. Oh, one other news just wanted to highlight was, I guess, at a MetroCog meeting, they highlighted some of the legislative wrap-ups that, about the speed cameras and all that. The town will be installing at the school zones, or some of the school zones. The other one I found interesting is they're increasing the parking prohibition distance at crosswalks to at least 30 feet.
Like sunlighting?
So
Like
another,
extreme?
yeah, so, before I always thought it was 25, maybe it was 20, I don't know, I always considered 25, but now I guess it's gonna be 30, so to help improve. And that might have to do with, SUVs or some larger vehicles where 25 might have been good years ago, but now, it's not. So I just wanted to share that information. All right, thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, Bill.
Sure, have a good day.
Thanks very much.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Yep, thank you.
Anything else from the group?
Hey, Joe?
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, not sure if Alex, if you had any updates for the Greenway.
I gave an update before, which is
Okay.
nothing really has happened. And so the plan is I'm going to be reaching out to the grant manager just to confirm that there aren't going to be any blocks based on other grants the town has out to DEEP for progress on, completing our grant. And then, I need to connect with Mike, who left, and Francisco on, just our next steps. And Francisco gave an update that he has an updated project plan for the grant proposal, which he's going to share out. And, that's the update, basically.
Oh, awesome, because I just wanted to add from the other way. This doesn't have anything to do with Bike and Ped directly, but it could have something to do with the Greenway, which is, I know one of the grants we've been looking at is the Recreational Trails Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you guys to know, I know this through the Conservation Department, actually. This just happened recently on July 28th, but very disappointingly, after the Conservation Department acquired new open space at 150 Villa Ave and tried, actually successfully applied for the Recreational Trails Grant to put in a half-mile crushed gravel trail on that new open space. The 20% match then came before the RTM, and at the July 28th meeting, the RTM actually struck the grant down and refused to fund the 50 or the 20% required by the town, which, at least according to my calculations, would have been about $50,000. I bring that up because I should certainly watch the entire meeting before, or the relevant portion before making any immediate statement, but after having read the minutes recently, what I will say is that the concerns were that amongst the RTM members were that one, a plan was not made, which is kind of ridiculous because the grant was trying to be awarded to make the plan, and then two, that the local neighborhood associations were not contacted before the grant. So I think then that what we need to do for the Greenway, which would be even bigger, is partially think about, I think, as we've already mentioned, doing some parts first, but also to then really get in touch with every single neighborhood association along the way, or honestly, even throughout town. Just make sure everyone's on the same page. And essentially, a lot of the more controversial parts can be sort of weeded out before it actually faces the RTM, or, at least then we could be comfortable that a majority will vote for it. So I know it's certainly disappointing, but it definitely is good to know before we try to do anything. And, some valuable lessons.
That's good to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can send the meeting here, the minutes. I'll link it in. Yeah, so I certainly thought I should hop on to let you guys know about that.
Yeah, no, that's great info.
I just put it in the chat.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, if there's anything I can do to then help with that, I think it's great then that we have that QGIS map without having had to pay anyone for it.
Yeah, seriously, thank you.
So, it just looks like I guess not then to brag or anything, but I mean, at least I hope it looks decently well done. And so, it can communicate pretty quickly, where this is going to go, and we can continue reaching out to groups in town and getting feedback before even applying for a grant. I can certainly be a part of that, email people, talk to the people I know. And then, I think it'd also be wise to just start talking to people on the RTM about this one before it even comes to them for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes to some of the walking tour things or touring different
Yep.
parts of it, and then making sure RTM members are invited, or however we do that, in a way that, get them involved early. I like that idea, as well as the neighborhood association. So I think these are all really good ideas, and I've captured them, for our subgroup here to kind of like discuss and integrate into the plan. And I know Francisco's on here and listening with his cans on. So yeah, this is great.
Awesome.
If you want to talk about public engagement, that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to
Okay,
we can set up
great.
something and kind of think it through and
I
what
love
you guys
that.
are thinking about.
Anything else from the committee for tonight? Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, have a great night, everybody.